Welcome to the Atlantic Cape Spill Prevention Control and Countermeasures training presentation. This training will orient you to the U.S. EPA SPCC rule, which applies to certain facilities storing oil products. All staff handling oil must receive this training annually to ensure that they know how to prevent spills and how to respond properly to spills in their work area. This training course discusses the applicability of the SPCC rule and the details you should be aware of, including information on regulatory overview, facility sources, spill prevention and control, spill countermeasures, spill reporting, and inspections and record keeping. You also need to be familiar with the SPCC plan written for this facility. Atlantic Cape's SPCC plan documents facility-specific information you should be made aware of and contains the training and inspection forms you will be learning more about. Please reference the SPCC plan as we proceed. The SPCC rule is actually part of the Federal Oil Pollution Prevention Regulations issued originally in 1973 under the Clean Water Act, which aimed to prevent the discharge of oil in harmful quantities into or upon the navigable waters or adjoining shorelines of the United States. An SPCC plan is a tool to ensure proper oil storage, implementation of spill prevention practices, and spill response, containment, and cleanup. It also outlines procedures for inspections, testing, spill reporting, record keeping, and records retention. The Federal Clean Water Act requires certain facilities to develop and implement an SPCC plan. This applies to Atlantic Cape's Mays Landing campus because it has above-ground oil storage in excess of 1,320 gallons in multiple containers that are 55 gallons or larger and that have the potential for a discharge from one of these containers to reach the waters of the state. Containers smaller than 55 gallons, such as 5-gallon buckets and gas cans, are not counted toward the total volume of oil stored in regards to the SPCC plan. Oil is defined by the Clean Water Act as oil of any kind or in any form, including but not limited to petroleum, fuel oil, sludge, oil refuse, and oil mixed with wastes other than dredged spoil and oily mixtures. Examples of what is stored at the Mays Landing campus that meet the definition of oil are diesel fuel for vehicles and emergency generators, gasoline, dielectric fluid in the transformers, and vegetable oils. The SPCC rule requires that facilities develop a written SPCC plan that is certified by either a professional engineer or self-certified by the facility management and must be maintained on site. The SPCC plan must include the components listed on this slide. Atlantic Cape is able to self-certify its plan because it meets the definition of a Tier 1 facility. What type of storage facilities does Atlantic Cape have at its Mays Landing campus? It has 4 above-ground storage tanks for diesel fuel and gasoline. There are 10 transformers located throughout the campus that hold dielectric fluid. There are 55-gallon drums of used oil stored in I-building, and there are 55-gallon drums of cooking oil stored in the culinary department. All storage containers are required to be designed with secondary containment or diversionary structures to keep a spill from reaching navigable waters. The SPCC plan must also include procedures to oversee fuel deliveries and prevent spills during any oil transfer activities. The best way to deal with a spill is to prevent one from happening. But if one happens, When and how should I respond? Much of the SPCC plan deals with preventing spills. However, if a release does occur, and your job description includes the cleanup of small spills, and you have been properly trained by your supervisor, then go ahead and clean it up after it is properly reported, using the information in Atlantic Cape's SPCC plan and this training course. How do I know what's a small spill? Atlantic Cape has defined spills as either minor oil spills or major oil spills. We'll start talking about minor oil spills. A minor oil spill is one that poses no significant harm or threat to human health or the environment. These discharges are typically small, can be easily contained, stopped, or controlled. They're unlikely to reach a navigable waterway, storm sewer, or sanitary drain. Cleanup procedures do not pose a health or safety hazard like the ones that are easily addressed with products like oil dry or absorbent pads. A major oil spill is a discharge that cannot be safely controlled or cleaned up by facility personnel, such as when the discharge is large enough to spread beyond the immediate area of the spill, the discharge cannot be contained, and the discharge may reach a navigable waterway, storm sewer, or sanitary sewer. These discharges typically require special equipment or training to clean them up. There is an immediate, significant risk to human health or the environment and/or the danger of fire or explosion, or the spill has resulted in injury to persons in the vicinity of the spill. These discharges require response by the fire department. You must immediately notify security and your supervisor. Now we'll discuss the response to a minor oil spill. When a spill happens, you should secure the site, locate spill kits, and don the appropriate PPE. Control and contain the spill. Notify security and your supervisor. Clean up the spill if directed to do so and if you are properly trained. Your supervisor must ensure that you are trained to use this equipment. Complete the spill incident report form attached to the SPCC plan and forward through your supervisor to the compliance officer. Response to a major oil spill. Secure the site and evacuate the area. Contact security and your supervisor immediately. The Director of Safety and Security or his designee will act as the emergency response coordinator. If a person is in immediate need of medical care, call 911, then security. If you come upon an unconscious person, do not attempt to rescue the person or administer care if you are unsure if it is safe to enter the area, and only if you are authorized, properly trained, and equipped to do so. The Emergency Response Coordinator will contact the Fire Department and the Atlantic Cape Hazardous Materials Emergency Response Team if support is needed. Attempt to control and contain the spill only if possible and safe to do so. The Emergency Response Coordinator will immediately contact the National Response Center and the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. The cleanup of a major spill will most likely be completed by an outside contractor once the site is secured by the fire department or emergency response personnel. You should complete the spill notification form and forward it to the compliance officer through your supervisor. Some typical spill response materials that are used for a smaller spill are granular absorbents and spill pads. Granular absorbents can be poured on incidental drips and around small spills to stop the spill from spreading and facilitate cleanup. Spill pads can be used to absorb oil from incidental drips and small spills on impervious surfaces. Absorbent socks and temporary drain covers can be placed around spills to protect storm drains, trench drains, or floor drains. Drains should also be protected during refueling activities. Socks and other oil-only absorbent spill response materials should be kept inside spill kits. Protecting floor drains and storm drains is critical since it means the difference between a controlled spill and a spill that is beyond your control. Spill kits, such as the one shown in this picture, should be placed near oil storage tanks, drums, and oil-containing equipment. Certain spills, such as oil spills, must be reported to both internal personnel and external agencies, federal, state, and local. In the event of a spill, the employee discovering the release shall immediately contact security and their supervisor. The emergency response coordinator or his designee shall ensure that appropriate notifications are made to outside agencies. This slide is an example of Atlantic Cape's spill notification procedures. You'll see that the outside agency that needs to be notified is listed, as well as the contact information, the particular circumstances under which the notification is required, and when the notification is required. The emergency response coordinator will ensure that these notifications are made. The emergency response coordinator will evaluate the nature of the spill and determine whether the spill must be reported to NRC or only to NJDEP or to both agencies. While not covered by the SPCC rule, all discharges of any types of pollutants, including oil discharges, must be reported to NJDEP. On the slight chance that an oil spill makes it into the sanitary sewer system, the receiving domestic treatment works, or the sewage treatment plant must be notified so that they're aware of any hazardous conditions that may put the sewer workers or the sewage treatment plant workers at a significant risk. As part of the SPCC rule, Atlantic Cape is required to inspect or test equipment on a routine basis to ensure that it is well maintained. Visual inspections of tanks, piping, dispensing equipment, and tank support structures should be conducted on an as-used basis. Formal documented inspections of storage containers and equipment are to be conducted monthly, and integrity testing will occur every 10 years. Checklists for the documenting of these inspections are included in Atlantic Cape's SPCC plan. Any discrepancies or problems noted during the inspections must be corrected or reported to your supervisor. Repairs should be recorded on the tank and container repair record form, which is also located in Atlantic Cape's SPCC plan. Monthly inspections should also include checking the storage areas for signs of debris that may block access and for unlabeled or outdated containers. You should check the tanks, containers, and associated piping for evidence of leaks or spills. The tanks and containers should also be checked for water or oil in the tank interstitial space or its secondary containment, which would indicate a failure of the tank. Here is an example of the inspection log. EPA requires facilities to maintain SPCC records for no less than 3 years. Atlantic Cape maintains these files in the facilities office, and they are made available for inspection by EPA or NJDEP upon request. Thank you for taking the Atlantic Cape Spill Prevention Control and Countermeasures training. If you have any other questions about SPCC regulations, SPCC plans, or any other compliance-related concerns, please don't hesitate to call me, Mary Simpson, the Compliance Officer, at 609-343-5112, or stop by my office in E106. Thank you.